40% of his speaking income after he was saying that Donald Trump was going to win. People just stopped booking him.
I got called all kind of stuff when I said he was going to win a long time ago. Herschel Walker.
He was that much of a divisive character his first election, just because of a lot of the rhetoric he had at the time. Make America Great, the slogan in itself had people divided. He really made an issue over immigration and the border that had people divided. It was even after he was elected and in office, it was a very racially tense time for America. He made some comments throughout that had people also divided. So Trump, as charismatic as he is, as good as a entertainer as he is at times, he definitely can be divisive. He definitely has been known to be divisive. I don't think through any purposeful intent, but it's just kind of who the guy is.
I met him. He talked about how he lost business from people who knew he had been friends with Donald Trump, and they asked him who he'd vote for. As Black people, we're pigeonholed, and I don't know if you'll admit to it. But Black people, we're pigeonholed. Everybody else can do a bunch of stuff. Black people have to talk a certain way, because if you don't, you're talking white. You're acting white.
And I'm gonna let my man Tommy cook, but bro, tell me where the lie is at. Tell me where the lie is at, bro. We sit up here and say all day, like, oh, being Black isn't a monolith, but man, it sure does seem like it.
You live in a certain place, you live in a white neighborhood. If you vote Republican, you're a sellout. Think about this. Voting for one white person over another white person will make a Black person a sellout. You just voted for a white person. You had a white guy and a white woman, but voting for the white guy makes you a sellout. But white people can listen to country, rap, and rock. Black people can't listen to country because you listen to white folks' music. Black people can't do certain things when everybody else has the ability to be several different things at once.
I've heard this before from my Black friends. It's like in high school, I remember saying, you could be the white nerd, you could be the white goth kid, you could be the white heavy metal kid, you could be the white country kid.
And let's take it a step further. Like, white people could be anything they want: astronaut, presidential aspirations, accountant, business owner, entrepreneur. Black people, we gotta be music, sports, or entertainment. That's all it is. That's what we're preached. That's how we're programmed. That's who our idols are. We don't look up to the entrepreneur who made it out, made a way for himself, has a successful business, has a family, is doing well. We don't really aspire to be that. But there's only so many people, and then if you go deeper into that, there's only so many Black people who are successful in these industries, the entertainment industry, the sports industry, the music industry. There's only so many Black people who are getting accepted into these industries every year. But we sit here and tell every Black kid across America, you can be LeBron. Oh, you could be Lil Baby. Oh, you could be. It's not realistic. What is realistic is learning a trade, building yourself up, self-developing, starting your own business, but we don't preach that in the Black community.
Be the white computer nerd, whatever, but I could be the athlete or the rapper or the drug dealer or whatever else. Like, like there's only a couple different categories that I'm stereotypically pushed into, or else I'm considered a bit of a weirdo. And we had some Black kids who were kind of doing their own thing. They were considered kind of weird in school. So
they couldn't hang out with other Blacks. Remember I asked people, I said, what was the Black nerd group? It didn't exist. The Black nerd just hung out with the other nerds of other cultures.
Right.
There was no Black nerd subculture. There was no Black.
If you go to a school that's primarily Black, though, you don't think there's a Black nerd group in those schools?
And I have to fully admit this, man. Me being 27, I look back, I see it for what it is. Man, I ain't even scared to say it, man. I get right on here on camera and say it. Like, I got a deep love for anime. Deep love. Could sit here and watch this shit all day. Back in high school, I didn't even want to cut it on. I seen how the people who liked it were ostracized. I seen how they were talked about. I seen how they were looked at. I had zero interest. You could have put an episode on in front of me, and it would have been it could have been the hardest thing. I wouldn't have watched it just because I didn't want to be labeled. I didn't want to be grouped with those people. I seen how they were looked at or looked down upon, really. And bro, I kept myself from one of my favorite hobbies now is watching it. I love it. But back then I because we're forced to be this this image that we're forced to fit this template, and if you don't, then you're looked at a certain way, you're talked about a certain way. I was scared to do so.
Well, the best schools in the country is this one in Chicago. It's a black school. For like 10 years. They've had 0% failure rate of all the seniors, and they've all got accepted to college
Okay.
for 10 straight years, and we don't talk about it. Do you know what they do?
Harlem had a school like that.
Yeah, but do you know what we do talk about, though? That last year or 2 years ago, a bunch of black women were saying it's not fair that there are so many more male teachers than female teachers, and they want to infiltrate that school.
What?
Why would you want to mess with something that's perfect?
There is something that I remember I read. It was a documentary that I saw that kind of struck me. And when you look at poor communities, you usually have the worst teachers in those communities. And they showed how in the school system, with the way that unions work, you can't really get fired no matter how badly you fuck up. So they just kind of keep putting you in other schools and keep putting.
Yeah, you have to do something like outside of teaching to get fired. Honestly, like you could be a terrible teacher, never get any lessons across. Your students have never went on to be successful. They've had failing grades, all of that. You ain't getting fired. You damn near got to pork a student to get fired. That's how you get fired nowadays. You got to pork a student or another teacher. You got to piss somebody off. But you could be a terrible teacher and keep your job for 10, 20 years, get your pension, get your retirement, your 401k, all that.
You in shittier schools, and then you end up in the shittiest school, right? So you have these schools that are lower income, and you have these shitty teachers in the school, right? The worst of the worst in terms of the teachers. So take a step back, and you see these schools with, let's say, a 50 to 60% graduation rate, meaning that if you take a school with 400 children, between 100 and 200 children every year ends up just dropping out. So you have these hundreds of people that are being dumped into a community who don't have a diploma from high school, probably can't read very well, don't know math very well, and since they don't have a diploma, it's harder for them to find a job. Not all of them are going into the arts. They're hanging out with nothing to do. They're not going to school. They start to do criminal activities. They start getting into trouble, whatever else. And you keep repeating this year after year, decade after decade. Bruh. Hundreds of kids being dumped into a community with nothing to do. They're sitting around all day. So is it the community that's creating the bad schools, or is it the bad schools that are creating the bad communities?
I think we don't take it seriously, and let me explain. I grew up in bad schools, but there were always a couple of parents, and it usually was the parents that had a father in there. And there's a documentary that ABC did about this. When the teacher called in for parent-teacher conference because the students were fighting too much.
And I love that he's making this point, and before he finishes it out, I can attest to that as well. Like, it don't matter what school you went to, private, public, charter, good school, bad school. A kid who had loving, caring parents it was always gonna show. It was always gonna be evident. It was always gonna make the difference. A kid who had active parents, parents who cared about that kid's education and their future. It was always something that you could tell. Those kids normally did better. They had a better outlook, better foundation, all of that, obviously. And yeah, I think that regardless of the environment, a kid with two parents, two active parents, two parents who give a shit, you know, I think that's always gonna make the difference. It's always gonna be you're always gonna be able to tell a kid like that versus a kid who doesn't unfortunately have that same, that same background.
Much. Only the father showed up. Because fathers, and even if you're not a father, that as a man, you become a father, you take your children seriously. Think about how many immigrant workers are these dudes who the guy can't speak English, but he just works with his hands until he dies, but he makes sure his son can speak perfect English and has an opportunity to go to school.
Right.
Fathers care about their legacy. It reflects bad on us. If I'm a man and I have good kids, more women want to have kids with me because of how I raise those kids. Okay. Women don't look at their children that way. Women kind of look at their children as burdens.
Like shit, I knew parents and I knew kids who had the mentality like, yeah, I don't care if we go to George Washington High. And for those of y'all who don't get the joke, it's George Washington High is probably your typical inner city high school with all types of low graduation rate and failing students. So, but yeah, it didn't matter if that kid was going to George Washington High. If they had two loving parents, man, you're going to be top of the class. You're going to be valedictorian. Like, it don't matter. It don't matter. Just because we live right here and you go to this school, it don't mean you about to be blending in and acting like the rest. Like, you're going to excel here. You're going to go to the next spot and you're going to excel there.
They don't see them the same way as guys do. They're in competition with their daughters. You ever notice how most of these women are trying to go to the club with their daughters? I have a theory when I say that if a woman has a kid at 16, she's mentally stumped at 16. So she continues to act year after year like she's
like a 16-year-old.
Yeah,
I can see that.
And ever watch when their child gets 16, they're best buddies, even though they're 32.
Right.
Because their mind is still stuck that way.
I think having a child before you're financially ready to have that child is a recipe for disaster. No matter if you're 16 or if you're 46. If you're bringing a child into a situation where you can't afford to have that child and have that child be in a good environment, you're automatically putting everyone in a bad situation.
Make sure to like the video, man. We appreciate y'all tuning in.
Children are very expensive. Extremely, extremely expensive, both from a money and a time perspective. And at 16, you don't have any money.
Look on your Instagram, Vlad. Look at how many women you see that are in the strip club. They did a statistic and it showed how many black versus the white porn stars who have children. The black porn stars who had children were in the 60s. The white ones were in the teens.
Okay.
So why were the black women still strippers? Almost every black stripper has a kid. Now, I ain't gonna let you to put your business out there, but I guarantee you, almost every black stripper she got kids. So she's able to go around and do these
jobs. I can't name one without a kid, not gonna lie.
Jobs, which typically, if it's anything to do with me,
I don't know all the black strippers in the world,
but you make tonight.
Goddamn.
I'll just give you the money and let you do what I need to do with you instead of throw money at you, because that's just how I am. And 9 times out of 10, they accept that money. So these women are doing this, and in the process, after they do it, they go get tattoos, butt surgery, breast surgery, and weed. But their kid does not go to a private school. Strange.
Man.
Because these women don't do that. Now, God
pulled up Land Rover, Range Rover, whatever, Porsche truck, Louis bag, Louis shades, Chanel shirt, all designer down to the flow, $100 nail job, $500 weave, all that. Kids got the Jordans though. Kids got the Jordans. Shit. Kids look good too. But they going to George Washington High, goddamn it. Ain't put them in a private school. Ain't put them in a better situation. Nah, they just pretty much put a spit shine on a turd, right?
Guys, if a guy had to do some foul stuff to take care of his kid, that money would go to his kid. Because he'd feel like, I'm doing this foul stuff for this kid.
Well, you have a system in America where custody goes to the woman 90% of the time, which I think is a problem, but it's almost impossible for a man to have custody of his children unless the woman is clearly a drug addict or self-destructive, or you have to have a very extreme situation with a woman. The woman could be fucked up and still have the children. She could be a stripper, she could be a porn star, she could be, have a shitty job, not a lot of skills. The court system will still give the children to the woman.
Think about how messed up this is, Vlad. Say you just sleep with a crackhead. I know you wouldn't. Let's just say you just messed up and did. Got the crackhead pregnant.
Right.
You are financially able to take care of your kid and give it a great life.
Yeah.
They would rather give that kid to the crackhead and make you finance the crackhead's life than let you have the kid.
Oh, man.
9 times out of 10, most of these rappers who knock women up, they'd rather take the kid than pay $7,000 a month. But the courts would rather give them, like Chris Brown's baby mama, who had already lost one kid because she was a poor parent. She'd already lost a kid before the one she had with him. Yes. She has a kid before him that the father was able to get custody because she was a poor parent.
Oh, lost in terms of custody. Okay. I thought you meant died.
Oh, no. So she had lost a kid that way. And yet she still was able.
How do you lose a kid due to poor parents and have another kid, go to family court, and you're able to keep that kid? Like, what's going on? Like, did we not look at her track record? Did we not pull her history? Is she not in the system for being a poor parent already? Oh, no, I forgot. We just overwhelmingly always side in the women's favor. It's family court. What am I thinking? The men never win. What am I thinking?
Able to have a kid and they don't look at it and say, well, the guy, if money is so important, give the kid to the one with the money. And we as men are the ones who are in Congress.
Well, to be fair, in the Chris Brown situation, I don't think anyone looked at Chris Brown and said, he just had a baby, he's going to stop his music career and focus on this child's life.
Make sure to like the video, man. We appreciate y'all tuning in.
He's going to be a great parent, and he's such an upstanding citizen, and he has no gang relations, and he doesn't claim blood pyro and does a bunch of dumb shit and shootings happen at his shows and all that type of stuff. None of that happens. This is a great guy. We're going to give the kids to him. Chris Brown had his own set of issues.
But there are guys who are great guys, I can sort of see why the mom got it. Look at Bosh. Chris Bosh was never.
All that aside, Chris Brown might not have been the best example, but still, that does happen where the father is clearly probably a better option or the best option a lot of times. And yeah, like, just because of how family court goes, how the system is structured, he ends up losing, getting the short end of the stick. Now he's financing not the kid's life, but the baby mom's life. Yeah.
Any trouble. Okay. Immediately when he got this girl pregnant, they should have said, well, let's just give it to Chris Bosh. Why give Chris Bosh's baby mama $20,000 a month? Why do this?
The legal system is focused on women raising the kids.
And yet the numbers bear out that single fathers, even though the number's smaller, raise more productive citizens than single moms do. By a long shot.
I'd have to see it.
I want you to go look it up and then come back and y'all want you to make a video and tell him, say he's right.
No, the statistics definitely match up to what he's saying. Like, kids do better. If you're going to look at a single parent household, kids do better under a single father versus a single mother.
I could sort of see where you're going with this in terms of what it is. But there's also, I don't want to put it out there that every single mother does a horrible job.
No, we don't speak in absolutes.
Right. Because, like I said, Barack Obama, raised by a single mother, came out well-adjusted, became president.
I was raised by a single mother. I don't discount all single. It's not an all thing. Okay. But every girl you sleep with without a condom is not going to get pregnant or give you AIDS or an STD. Right. Do we argue standpoints like that, or do we argue what's best for the individual, saying it's probably safer to do it this way? What we're saying is it's safer for people to have a mother and a father, some type of stability. Like you said, financial situations. We can name plenty of people who came from poor background.
Man, my man came with all 3 belts, and I see why he brought him, bro. He's been cooking this whole time. He told Vlad in part 1, like, bro, talk me down. Like, you might be able to win one of these belts off me. Like, and y'all see in part 3, he still got all 3 belts. Shout out my nigga Tommy. Oh, God. Where my, God damn it. My diamond marker.
But what did you just say?
Okay, so your situation. You have a daughter?
I have two now.
Two daughters?
Yep.
Are you married to the mothers of
Nope.
Of these two girls?
Nope. And all the time I talk about how it's not right what me and her mothers did to her. My daughter, she's well rounded, grounded, but she lives on another coast.
This is the same mother for both your daughters?
Nope.
Okay, so two different mothers. Okay.
See, so I'm talking about myself when I talk about these stats.
So you have a situation.
That's how I know so well, nigga. I'm going through it.
Really, you may be financially helping out with your daughters, but because you do not live with their mothers, you are not in the same home. You are not.
I know his baby moms hate him.
Oh my
no
God.
disrespect.
Oh, hell no, man.
Do y'all hear this, man? He giving us the truth, the uncomfortable truths about the black community, women, all type of shit. But this man is not getting he's not getting no pussy for this, y'all. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. This don't make nobody wet. Bro, I know his baby moms.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. Get your goddamn ugly ass.
In the same city. I live in Phoenix.
Okay.
My 10-year-old lives in Atlanta.
Right.
Every time she wants to see me, it's a 3-hour flight.
Yeah.
My other one lives in LA. Every time she wants to see me, it's either a 1-hour flight or a 4-hour drive.
Okay.
They can't see me when they're in school because they are in school.
Right.
They can't just come for the weekend because they spend most of it in flight.
Yeah.
So they have to see me on breaks. My daughter either is with me for summer break, and if she wakes up in the middle of the night and wants her mom, she can't have her. Or when she's with her mom and she wakes up in the middle of the night and wants her dad, she can't have him.
Right.
I don't think that's cool at all.
Right.
And I partook in that situation.
He makes a great point. He makes a great point. We don't think about when we considering having a kid, thinking about the kid, how we gonna raise the kid. Shit, even if we break up, we don't think about how that affects the kid. Like, oh, I can only be with my dad on these days, on these weekends. I can only be with my mom. Man, you know how much I just love to have my mom and have my dad. And then another thing, shit, this is speaking of a personal experience. When you send your kid off to school and the other kids that he goes to school with don't have the same dysfunctional life, don't have the same broken family that he has or she has, and she gets to see his friends or her friends have a 2-parent household, gets to see her or his friends say mommy, say daddy, give them both a hug, have them both being it. Bro, that type of stuff is psychologically affects a kid. Like, damn, like I just got the one. You telling me you got mom, dad, you got a grandma, a grandpa, you got the full family tree. I just got my mom. That has a deep psychological effect on kids.
And my 8-year-old, I just found out about my 8-year-old in April. The mother of the 8-year-old had blamed the 8-year-old on another guy for all of that time and then found out, well, wait a minute, I think this guy has money.
So you had a daughter that you didn't even know you had.
Just found out in April of this year.
And she was 8 years old.
Yep.
So you missed 8 years.
Oh, and let me tell you how great women are.
Damn.
After finally getting her monthly checks and stuff, I have missed 8 years of this kid's Thanksgiving. So I said, well, her sister's coming from Atlanta. Might as well let her come on Thanksgiving. She said, no, I got plans.
Did you have to pay back child support?
Okay, here's how that worked. I didn't have to because the judge was like, no. But I offered a year of back child support. I was like, well, I'm pay a year. Because the judge said, we didn't have to because you didn't let him know.
Whoa,
so I thought that was cool.
Whoa. Tommy, for such a smart guy,
You what?
Just signed up for that. Because I know how these family court situations go. The judge fuck around and be like, oh, you can pay a year? Shit, you could pay 5. Man, you know what? 5, you could pay 10, goddamn it. You might as well pay it for the whole life. Pay it back all the way to time of conception, man. Get that girl her.
Because my lawyer was afraid. Arizona's different, though, guys. Arizona's different. Some states, you have to pay. There's a guy that's in my movie right now called Carnell Williams. He's been paying child support, and he's been to jail 10 times now on a child that isn't his. But because he signed the paper, even though the DNA says he's not, he finally had that case overturned 3 weeks ago.
Damn.
After 26 years. And all of those jail. And he said he wants to sue for some of the money that he paid back, but his lawyer told him he's probably not going to get a dime.
You what?
But here's what happened. I told
What
her
did he say?
a year back child support to her because I just thought, I mean, everything's seen. I'm stupid. So after doing it, I didn't know what happened. So I went to go get my passport renewed. It said I owed a year, like literally the next week. And then my credit dropped 130 points.
Damn.
Because I had a year. and so I called her and I said,
look what being a nice guy does.
you know, I'll give you the money. You need to take this off my thing. No, I'm trying to get my passport. Her words to me were, well, if I drop it, I'm just scared you won't pay me. I said, pay you money that you don't deserve. Since she's been getting child support, she got a new house and a new car.
Wow.
Oh shit!
But I couldn't see my kid on Thanksgiving after she's had.
No, that's sick. That's sick. Like I said, what's it about? The kid, giving the kid what they need. That money could be used for clothes, putting your kid in a good school. Maybe, and I say maybe because we don't know the situation, but maybe relocating, putting your kid in a better situation, maybe better school district, better surroundings, maybe removing them from a certain scenario if they were, you know, kind of growing up in a bad environment. That could be a part of it. Like I said, maybe put them in programs, sports. The money could be used for a whole lot of things, but I'll tell you one thing it's not meant for old girl to be getting a new car, a new Louis shade. It's not meant for that, yo. And man, I'm tired of seeing these women. Misappropriate the child support, bro. That's why niggas don't be wanting to pay.
Straight Thanksgivings. I couldn't see it.
So who was the guy who thought was the father?
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't get the kid is named after that guy.
Well, because technically, yes, that's technically biologically your child.
You know what's crazy? She probably, oh man, I'm sure the story is sicker than what Tommy is telling us. Like he probably giving us the YouTube friendly version. But old girl probably wanted the guy who she thought was the guy to be the father. Named the girl after him. It wasn't until she looked up and said, you know what? I ain't really getting too far with him. Oh, you know what? Looking back, I was sleeping with this one guy named Tommy at the time. Like, held up the two pictures. Like, you kind of look more like Tommy. Went through the process. Oh, it's Tommy's girl. It's Tommy's daughter. Like, you know the added bonus? Tommy has money.
But this has been the father in this.
He's out of the kid's life now.
Really?
Yep. That's how dirty these women can do.
So he found out. Well, is that on him or on her?
Well, there's a woman who listens to my show. She was a big fan of my show. Didn't believe in having kids out of wedlock. Apparently, she slept with a guy one day, got a kid out of wedlock. Another dude loved her so much because the dude ran off. That's what she tells me. It was just a fly-by-night sleep with guy. A dude loved her so much that he married her when she was 6 months pregnant.
Okay.
She divorced him after the kid was 2 years old. She called me saying, I need your advice. I said, what's up? She said, this nigga is trying to still be under my kid when it ain't his kid. I said, but he's been there since the kid was born. Yeah, but it ain't his. When I don't want to be with him no more, he shouldn't be in the kid's life. I said, that is so dirty.
Sick. That's why dudes don't want to step up to the plate. The father that stepped up, not the stepfather, but the father that stepped up. That's why dudes don't want to do it. It's an unsafe bet. It's an unsafe bet. You telling me I work on a relationship with this child. I'll start to foster a relationship with this child, build a bond with this child, start becoming invested into the child's future, into the success of the child. Like, yeah, it goes deep. Like, man, I love this kid. And now because of a little spat with the kid's mom, I'm all of a sudden being uprooted from the kid's life. I can't see the kid. I can't come around. All the time spent, all the energy spent for nothing because of a little spat with his mom. We beefing. Now I can't see the kid. Like, bro, that's why I say it's an unsafe bet for stepdads. Like, it's not a sound investment. And when it can be snatched away from you like that, like, you don't even get your ROI. Like, it is so much other things, so much other better ways to spend your time as a single man or as a man looking for a relationship. So much other better places to put your time, I should say, than unfortunately with a lot of these single mothers when they can just up and do that. Now, is that every single mother? Is that every woman who's going to do you like that? No, but